The Wyoming Backcountry Discovery Route begins in Baggs, Wyoming. This route is roughly 900 miles long and it takes you across three mountain ranges, the Sierra Madres, the Medicine Bow Range, and into the Wind River Range. And then you end up in the northern Bighorns at a very remote location where the Crow Reservation meets up with Wyoming. Come on along and check out our journey. After crossing the Wild Horse Basin, you start working up into your first mountain range. Take the time to smell the flowers and listen to the stream. You may never be back this way again. This BDR has several waypoints marked on things that you're going to want to make sure you see. This one is leading us up to what they call Aspen Alley. Makes me wonder what this would be like in the fall of the year. I may have to come back one more time. With more things to see than any one video could ever show, we did end our first day on the BDR and stayed at the little place called the Friendly Motel. It was a great stop for us. Day 2 started out beautifully. The route took us up past a bunch of little lakes, and we thought the day was going to go smooth without any hitches, but that's just not overlanding, is it? Did we mind getting blocked by snow? No, not at all. Back home, the heat and humidity was oppressive. We was glad we had problems like this to deal with. My navigator rerouted us and away we went. After we run into snow block on the main route, we decided we'd try the expert section. Kind of glad we did, it was open. But I've watched a lot of videos where some of the adventure bikes were having trouble getting across this creek. I don't know what it is, but these rocks underneath here seem to like to roll and slip a little bit more than most of them I'd been in. The rest of the journey was a typical mountain road, and we enjoyed it before jumping back on the main route. When Penny and I was planning our trip for the BDR, she told me she wanted to go up to Kennedy Peak Lookout Tower. I'm so glad I listened to her. It was beautiful. My opinion, it's well worth your time. Following the advice we'd got from several others, we did not stop at Elk Mountain. We continued on up to Alcova before we stopped for the evening. Still have a couple of beautiful things to see on the way. This is the Shirley Mountain viewpoint. It's a waypoint off the main route a little ways. Take your time, go over and check it out. I thought it was just beautiful. After an awesome day spending it with Penny and seeing lots of beautiful sights, we headed into Alcova to spend the night and to get ready for day 3. Day 3 started with a short side run up to Independent Rock. A lot of history right here. Beaver Rim Road. I've heard others say that they wish they had skipped this section. I kind of enjoyed it. Penny said she liked it a lot. We'd been out into the bottoms for quite a while, and right in about here I asked Penny how far we had to get to one of our overlooks. She said it was 42 miles away. How far do you drive on roads like this? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of beautiful views. And don't expect to see anybody else or find any services out there. You are out in the middle of nowhere. I think that's what we liked about it. Our plans had us continuing and not stopping at Atlantic City, but heading up to Landers. There is a campground just south of Landers that it's got a beautiful lake, and then you get to the Sink and the Rise. And the river disappears into that cave. For some reason, I'm thinking cold smoked trout. I'm getting hungry now. From Landers on up to Shoshone, there's not a whole lot. You have this bluff here and a natural gas plant out that has some signs that kind of make you think twice as you're driving through it. But it's beautiful in its own right, and they had to do this to get around some reservation ground. Penny said this sign was a good omen for the day. We'll see. We waited, but didn't see any airplanes coming in or departing. But we did see some beautiful red rocks with snow-capped mountains in the background. This section, for the most part, were well-maintained gravel roads. We enjoyed it and thought it was beautiful. But now we're heading on up to Tin Sleep. Penny wants to stop at Dirty Sally's and see if she can get another shirt. The next morning, we exited town up through Tin Sleep Canyon. It's a beautiful area. I think this is our 4th time being here and we just love it every time. 2 years ago, we drove right past this spot and didn't know it was there. This is marked as a waypoint and it's called the Southern Bighorn Viewpoint. There's a couple of camping options up here too. This is beautiful. I can't believe we drove past this and didn't take the time to come up last time. We'll never make that mistake again. After having an awesome little break here, we got back in the Jeep and continued north to see what else was awaiting us. We turned onto a new road and it started heading us in a different direction. It was beautiful, but we started noticing porta potties around. And then we started running into runners. They was running a marathon out through here. I think we only seen 5 or 6 people and a couple of sheriffs. What a beautiful place if you was young and healthy to run. This is Medicine Lodge north of Hyattville. There's also a state campground here that looked pretty awesome if you're looking. It was getting close to lunchtime. We wanted to get up into the mountains where it was a little cooler. And I had marked a campsite here on our last trip through, so we drove up there and we stopped and Penny cooked us a really nice meal sitting alongside the road here. It's a beautiful place to eat. It's one of the things I like about having everything with us. We can stop any place, anytime that we want. After we got done eating, we cleaned up and we drove past a overlook that's marked Bighorn Scenic View. We've been there before and there were some other people up there and we didn't want to disturb them. Penny wants to get up to Shells Falls before we make a run up to the junction, so we're heading. Between the falls and all the way up to the junction, moose and mule deer were everywhere. We always enjoy seeing them. We got up in the morning, and Penny had wanted to go up to the medicine wheel. We'd been by here several times and just hadn't stopped. So we took a side trip up to the medicine wheel, and then we'll finish up the BDR. The Native Americans consider this a holy spot. It has religious and ceremonial meaning to them. Do not disrespect it when you're here. As much as I would have loved to have seen a drone picture looking down on it, there's no way I would have ever done that at this location. We are now back on the BDR, making the final push up to the border. This is a very remote area, and when we got up to the Crow Reservation, this was the first time I'd seen that the gate was open, and there was a lot of tire tracks through there. I don't know who's been coming through there. I know I'm not allowed, but it was a beautiful spot. I'm so glad we done this trip. I hope you can make it someday too.